Some people take this friend and believe in them throughout their lives as loyal and trustworthy. This friend is always by their side, egging them on and encouraging them to acquire wealth, a surefire way to a comfortable life and ultimate happiness. This friend never reminds them that they should part with some of their wealth in accordance with laws of charity, humanity, or generosity. It feels so good, or so their friend tells them, that to accumulate all that wealth in the bank, you would think that such a person might sleep easy, especially with such a wonderful friend that helped them to live an affluent life. When they look back at their lives, those that take such a friend realize that they never slept a full night's sleep in peacefulness, because they were either exhausted by spending day and night acquiring all that money, or were constantly worried. They never felt relieved of any anxiety for one moment because of fear of losing their accumulated wealth. Deep in their hearts, they knew it was terribly wrong because they neither spent that money on themselves, their families, or paid the zakat, or poor dues. And then something expected, but unexpected for them, happens. Death. Death assails them. Death comes knocking at their door as the grave begins to constrict and the snake begins to restrict their airwaves, hissing, "I am your wealth, I am your wealth." They call out to their friend to save them, and it is at that point they realize in shock and horror that miserliness was the friend that never was. "I thought you were my friend," the soul whispers to miserliness. "Your friend? Yes, of course. I pretended to be your friend, and you believed me. You despised spending your hard-earned money on your wife and children, so I encouraged you to be mean and deprive them of comforts they needed. They lived a life of austerity with you, and your wife despised you for what you put the children through. She worried constantly that you never paid your zakat. Your body is still warm, and as we speak, your wife is honouring all your zakat payments that were due. I really tricked you. You spent your whole life basically impoverished. You never even got a new sweater and died with holes in your socks. I made you think you were wealthy, and you spent your whole life in anxiety and feeling that you were poor. The last laugh is on me, because all that wealth can never help you. Not then, and not now. I am that friend that never was. Nice to make your acquaintance. I hope you will now recognize me. I am miserliness." But you promised me that if I just took one more loan out and built one more property, I would be happy. I listened to you. I used to wonder why I always felt so worried about being poor. So that's why I worked hard for all that money. But you always whispered in my ear, telling me that if I spent my wealth, then I would be poor. Aha! I deceived you, and I knew you were such a fearful and anxious person who worried about being poor. So I made sure that I never let you think of a way out or possible cure for your fear. Of course, everyone's life passes on, and time eventually runs out, like yours has now. But I never let you think of death, or reminded you of the torment of the grave. In fact, I knew from a young age that you always wanted more. Your parents had very little, but they were very generous. But you were different. You really wanted to buy into the culture of wanting and having more just for the sake of it. It was so easy to fool you, because I never let you realize that whether affluent or a beggar, whether old or rich, or happy or sad, life terminates without warning. But I thought I would be happy. Well, that is the best part of it all, because I made sure that you were never happy. What should I have done to avoid all this regret? What about my children? What if they turn out like me? Well, in order to get rid of me, you should have spent time in your life reflecting long and hard on the fact that just as people climb to the heights of affluence and start to achieve what they have worn themselves out for, death assails them. without invitation. Think about it. When death takes us and moves us on, our wealth stays behind for others to wrangle over and spend. Your children are wrangling over your wealth as we speak, because you never made a will. Wait, please. I genuinely regret all this. I'm sorry. It is too late. My work here is done, so I bid you farewell. I am truly a friend that never was. As the early morning light of dawn began to peek through the trees, it looked so beautiful on the grave. The grave looked so peaceful, with no one aware of the torment going on. The soul looked at the scene and began to panic as the sun rose higher into the promise of a beautiful day. The soul returned to the body. Another chance to bring the heart to life and live another day. Another chance to live a life of kindness and generosity, and say goodbye to the friend that never was. Goodbye, miserliness. We do not need you in our life. And now the soul wakes up after such a horrid nightmare. Now the heart is awakened.